Terry Foster here for the Terry Foster Boombayey podcast, and we have a large cast of characters here today, but I want to talk about something and involves sex. This is a story that I could not say on the air at 97.1 when I worked there without getting fired. And it happened to me when I was at Central Michigan University. I lived in an apartment, and there was the girls across the hall, and one weekend, everybody was gone. It was just me and this other girl. We were the only two people on our floor. So she asked, "You want to come over for dinner Friday night?" I said, "Sure." So, she fixes the place up, smelling nice and beautiful and everything. You know, girls' apartments, they're all nice, and they got flowers and all this stuff. So she made some pot roast or something like that. So I never thought that we were going to hook up. All right. I just thought, just friends. So I'm joking around, having a good time. And so we eat dinner, and I brought over dessert. I think I brought over some pie. And next thing I know.
That's always a guy who brings over pie.
Yes. You got to speak into the mic. But
pie doesn't bring over pie.
Yeah, I don't really know what
I
don't know how far this is gonna go. So
it was cherry pie. But anyway,
some liquor over for sure.
No. We had a toast. Normally, see, right now, if we had a toast, it would be with wine. But we were in college, so we had beer. So, we're just kind of talking, and you know how you look at a woman, you get that funny look, and you look at each other's eyes a little too long. And then, started kissing and stuff. Yeah. So I'm like, damn, this shit is going to happen. So next thing I know, we're in her bedroom. It's nice and smelly and everything. And so we're going to go at it. So she said, when you have sex with someone that you barely know, you should never talk. Don't say anything, right? Don't talk. Because only bad stuff can happen.
Don't cheese it up.
Right. So she's there. I'm there. She's looking pretty good, though. She had those breasts that were friendly. I call them friendly breasts. They were just like, "Hey, Terry, how you? Want to be your friend?"
What are friendly breasts?
Friendly breasts.
Large,
they weren't large. They weren't small. They were just
in your hand. Lovely.
Yeah. Just like we're your friends. So then this is what I would say. Don't talk when you're about to have sex. She goes, "Do you know why I like you?" I said, "Well, first I didn't know you liked me." She says, "Yeah, I really like you and everything." I'm like, "All right, cool." She's a cute girl, white girl, pretty and stuff. So I'm like, I have no idea. I may have joked around and said, because my big brown eyes or something like that. She says, "No, the reason I really like you is because you're not a nigger." And I'm like,
damn.
Whoa. So all of a sudden,
well, that kind of kills the mood.
that killed the mood. So I'm like, damn. So I said,
you had a direction.
Yeah, I had a direction. Well, I'm thinking at that time, I got to take one from Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson. I didn't know Al Sharpton at the time, but I said, I can't do this. Because I had a direction.
Well, so you had to take over the mountaintop.
Yeah, but here's the thing. She thought she was paying me a compliment. She said, "Well, there's two types of people." I said, "Oh God, don't." I'm like, "Don't talk."
Did you give her a shovel to dig her way out of this?
Yeah.
Nah.
Why didn't you just put something in her mouth?
Shut up. Should have. Yeah. She said, "Well, there's black people, and then there's niggers." And I'm like, "Oh my God."
She's trying to do a Chris Rock bit.
Right. Yeah. But she's not Chris Rock. Yeah. So coming out of her mouth, it was all messed up. So I had a direction, and I said, "You know what? We can't do this.
Oh wow.
I can't do this."
Did you ever see her again?
Sure, she was my neighbor. I saw her every day.
Did she apologize? Did
No,
she know
because she thought she was paying me a compliment.
Does she not know what the word means? I mean, to say that word is
obviously she didn't. She's from out. She was from. Well, I think she's still from the outstate. She didn't know. She should have known.
Well, this really isn't about sex. This is about you not getting any sex.
I still think you should have knocked the boots.
Well, it's funny you should mention that. I didn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I'm like, damn. Man, this girl lives across the hall. I thought we were cool and everything. And I said, I couldn't do this. Well, anyway, I go home, and I'm talking to my boys, and I told them the story, and they said, I would have hit it anyway. I'm like, they said, you know, they have this term they like to say, you too sanctified, man. You carry too much stuff. Just hit it and don't talk to her again. Just move on. I said, yeah, but I just, you know, I would have felt bad, and I wouldn't have. I didn't feel about her. You know, it wasn't like we had like a relationship. I sort of have to like you if I'm gonna have sex with you. And at that moment, I didn't like her.
That is really cute, Terry.
And they're like, you should hit that anyway.
Straight. Damn straight.
So, fellas, did I make the right move?
No,
could
I said
you-
no, I would have hit it.
You would still hit it?
Yeah, I would have hit it for sure.
To be honest with you, it would have depended on how she looked
She was cute.
and how far we were at, where we were at in the game.
Yeah, did you have any clothes off, or was this like?
We weren't completely nude, but, you know, I didn't have my shirt on.
Did she have her clothes on, or I mean, obviously you saw her boobs.
Titties were out, you were saying. So.
Tits were out, and they were friendly. Like I said, they were really
She
friendly.
didn't have a top on. Did she have her pants on or off, or what was?
She was about to take them off.
Oh, man. You should have just...
Well, I mean, she kind of ruined the mood. I mean, you're kind of thinking like, who says stuff like that?
Yeah, I know.
in a quick
And
second,
why
she
are
could
you?
have
I
figured
would
it
have
all
looked
out.
at her and said, "Why are you talking?"
You know, the smart you, it was probably smart
Right.
that you walked away
Yeah.
because she's the type that if you did hit it, may have said rape afterwards.
Yeah, that is true.
So
That is true.
with that type of mentality, because, you know, you could have just said, okay, I'm going to show you what one is. and just go up in there. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you probably were smart to walk
you did
away.
the right thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit it so hard, your wig's gonna be on backwards, even though she didn't have a
I
wig
mean,
on.
you know, we've all hit that where you turn into Superman. Mm-hmm. Where you just like, yeah. I mean, afterwards, you just sitting there going back through the highlights like, yep, I did that.
Yeah,
Yep.
but knowing
She
because
gonna
I
crap
know
right
you,
for a
I
while.
don't think you could even gone through with it because that was in your head.
Yeah, I was
that
freaked
was
out.
too much-
I
right.
didn't expect that.
Right.
I did not. I don't know why I didn't expect it.
Right.
I mean, you know, at Central Michigan, you heard all kinds of stuff because people they were unfiltered. They were from backwards communities, you know. And like I said, she thought she was paying me a compliment. And I've been in that position before because I guess I'm one of the good black people. Now, no one is called, and my friend said, well, technically she didn't call you a nigger. She said you weren't one. So I would hit it. But I've been in positions like that before. The one time was there was this father, and I wrote a story on his daughter, and he was really nice, and I had met the family and stuff, and he said, you know what, Terry, I don't think of you as a black man. I'm like, well, why not? I'm sort of black. He says, no, you're real nice, and he said, you're just as white as any guy I know. And the daughter was like, oh, my God, I can't believe my dad just said that. So, you know, the perception is if you're a good black guy, I don't know, you're not black.
It's kind of a backhanded compliment.
Right. It was backhanded all right.
Yeah.
But what I told him, I said, hey, look, I understand what you're trying to say, but I'm black.
Right.
And I said that there are nice black people. There's, you know, doesn't mean you're acting white. It's just this is who you are.
How
But
old
that
was
girl, who, him?
he? Yeah.
He was probably 50, something like that.
'Cause I was about to say, like, if he was in, you know, 70s or 80s, I like to just call it, you know, the old Southern white lady who
Right.
pats you on the head and thinks she's giving you a compliment, and you just
Right.
are sitting there like, I could talk to you for 3 weeks and you'll never get it. So you know what?
Well,
It's cute. I'm gonna walk away.
I've experienced that because I'm Jewish, so
Okay.
I have a good friend of mine when I lived in Chicago. Her mother would every time I would see her because I spent Christmas with them. I loved spending Christmas with them because they're Irish and they were drunk by noon.
Mm-hmm.
So her mother's the nicest lady, and she goes,
Hey,
I
wait,
have
what's
a
this
Jew-
about Irish and being drunk by noon? That's a stereotype. That's hurtful. I'm a quarter Irish.
I would always say to me, "Oh, I have a Jewish friend,"
Oh, yeah. They,
and I'm like, we should have a parade because I'm like, good for you. It's amazing, and she wasn't being mean or
No.
Right. She thought she was saying something nice.
right.
And
I
filling
have a
that dead air space, and it's like, don't.
Well, I got talking about this. I would when I covered I used to live in Kansas City. I would cover the Royals. Mike Sweeney one day asked me, Rhonda, can I ask you a question? And I'm thinking, oh, this should be good. And he's not the brightest bulb in the lot. Nicest guy, but He said, you're Jewish. And I'm like, yes. And he goes, I thought all Jewish people had brown eyes.
Oh. I didn't know that. I didn't hear that one.
And
I
I'm
dated a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jewish girl for 2 years.
Hello?
So, yeah.
So I said, Mike, I don't know if you're familiar with that XY chromosome, but, it has really nothing, and he goes, and then he started going deeper. Well, my friend Mike Schwartz, and I'm like, oh Jesus, this is just, and he wasn't doing it to
Right,
I
right.
took no
He didn't
offense
know.
to it. I was ready for him to say,
Has he ever heard of an Ethiopian Jew? You can be
that would
black
have thrown
and
him
be
off.
a Jew.
I mean, that would have put
Sammy
him right
Davis
over
Jr.
the edge. Yeah.
did not have brown. Yeah, he did have brown eyes, but he was a brother. He was
But
Jewish.
it's
Yeah,
something like that.
brown
It's
eye.
funny.
Yeah, people don't understand. Being Jewish
you
is a
didn't get the
religion.
joke.
You
didn't get the
one
joke.
eye, you got a glass eye.
Oh,
He said he had brown eye.
yes, now I get it. I didn't hear that part. But I would. Here's another thing I always get. I always meet a white person that says, "Oh, I have black friends and they were against the civil rights movement. They don't like Black Lives Matter. They're against Colin Kaepernick. They're against what the NFL players are going. They're against all." They find a guy. They have a black friend that's against everything that black people are trying to accomplish.
Yeah, that's called the Uncle Ruckus theory.
I kind of wonder if they have.
You ever
Actually
seen
have a friend.
Boondocks cartoon?
I saw it.
Yeah, that's Uncle Ruckus. No relation.
What's the other dude? Samuel L. Jackson. He was
Capital One guy.
no, yeah, but he was in the movie. He was Django.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah, he ran the house.
right. So that's my story that I couldn't tell on the air, so I would have been fired at 97.1
I
for
don't know why
telling
you
that
couldn't
one.
tell that story. You just have to take out. You just couldn't say the word.
Yeah, I guess. But I
I
wanted to
thought
use
you
the
were.
word.
Yeah. I guess if you don't use the word, the effect. You need.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hear it.
Yeah, you have
all.
to hear it, and like
Right.
she was just like, you're a good guy. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, this good guy is not gonna be messing with you tonight.
Yeah.
So yeah, we parted ways, and I would
guarantee
just
she
wave
would,
at her.
She would never say that again, or ask that question, or.
All she had to do was keep her mouth shut.
Well,
We would have had
that
a
was the
nice
first
weekend. We would have hit it. Couple days. Monday, I wouldn't even know your name. I'll just go to class, and it would have been a great thing. That's why before sex you shouldn't even talk. Don't say anything. What are you going to solve the world? Are you gonna, all you can do is say something that's going to piss the other person off. Don't say I love you. Don't say anything. Just say, hey, how you doing? What was your name again?
Or make them giggle
That's
in your
it.
head by doing
Right.
cheesy little marks.
Just move on. Absolutely. So I was almost going to give out a phone number, but I can't do that. It's just instinctive right now. I want to ask you guys a question. ESPN, we keep hearing from Donald Trump how they have horrible ratings and nobody's listening to it because of the political landscape of ESPN.
Hey, Terry, are you going to introduce us so the people know who we are?
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Thank you. Who we have here, of course, we have Ryan, who you
How's it going?
saw last week, and I have the fabulous Rico Beard.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And Rhonda Moss, who is a reporter. And here's why I love Rhonda Moss. Because after a game, reporters are trying so hard not to be rude to athletes. It was a tough 48-0 loss, but if you hadn't had that turnover early, it could have been a different outcome. Rhonda just kind of comes up and says, why did you guys suck today? What was that? I call her Miss Blunto. That's what I like. And I don't like radio people. I did not, when I was just a newspaper guy, I didn't like radio people because I would listen to the radio. Say, hey, we've got Richard in the locker room, the Pistons locker room, and here's his report. He would put a microphone in front of someone, not ask one question, and it'd be all the beat writers asking questions, and he'd send back the sound and say, oh, boy, that was excellent work by Richard. And I said, Richard didn't do shit. How does he get a pat on the back for doing nothing but holding a microphone to somebody's face? So that's why I love Rhonda, because Rhonda asks questions, and they're not.
I try.
She's been kicked out of locker rooms, had your credential
Revoked.
Wow.
all kinds of stuff.
Who took your credential?
Royals.
So she's a hard ass, but we like her. And we have Elon,
Hello.
Eric Lund.
Rhonda, I have a question for you. That last name, that's a very familiar name. Someone else kind of has that type of attitude in the Detroit market who writes about sports. Are you related to anyone?
No.
Okay.
No. Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
All right,
That's
thank
why
you.
I think I've had that conversation. I won't get into it, but that's why I've had that conversation with you, because that's why I think why when I moved back, I think that's why I had trouble with the Lions at first.
Oh. Everybody has troubles with the Lions. Let me
Right.
tell you.
Please, they called my boss and told me that my perfume was too strong. It was what did they say? It was distracting.
Distracting.
And I'm like, okay, 0-4, not my problem. Okay, to start the season.
You're smelling too
This
damn
is when
good.
Jim Schwartz
Well-
was head coach. Yeah.
Well, sometimes the cologne is a little strong. I can understand that. But the Lions, they are the biggest pains of every reporter that covers them.
You know, I actually had a little Lions reunion yesterday.
Oh, did you?
I bumped into Sheldon White before the Michigan State game,
Oh.
and he's talking to this guy, and I'm looking like, I know you. I know you from somewhere. But you know, sometimes when you see people
Yeah.
out of their elements, like somebody you always see working at a store and you see them, you know, at church, you're like, I know you. It was Tom LeWan.
Oh, geez.
Oh. What's he doing now?
I guess his daughter's getting ready to go up to MSU.
No, he's at Shinola now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
right.
so yeah, they were just all sitting on the field, and I'm like, yeah, they were like, and then Sheldon was like, well, he used to be my boss, and I was like,
Well, I remember Tom LeWan, but there's people like Ryan and I go to the same gym. I saw a woman at the AT&T store, and I looked at her. I said, I know you from somewhere. Who are you? She said, we're in the gym every day. I'm like, damn. But, you know, all of your elements. So I was like, damn, who is this?
so yeah, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I would always know you, no matter where you were.
I appreciate that.
All right. But ESPN supposedly is getting lower ratings because of their political talk and everything. Are you guys watching less ESPN today than you did 2 or 3 years ago, and why?
I don't think it has anything to do with political stuff. I think it's because ESPN has fired all their good people, or they've left and gone to FS1. The programs are all the same. It's a bunch of guys sitting around a table. Let's yell at each other and let you. I say up, I say down. Well, down is wrong. And after a while, you just don't care. They're not giving you anything. And they lived on their brand for so long that they thought they slapped ESPN on it and you're going to watch it. No, entertain me. Give me something. Now, the original PTI, I loved.
Right.
Because they hit the topics. They told you what they're going to talk about. They were quick. They were timely, and they moved on. But then all of a sudden it became
Barking dogs.
No, and then it was like, okay, and now after this show, more barking dogs.
I didn't even mind around the horn that much, and I can't even stand that really.
They went the way ESPN evolved and became MTV.
Yeah.
MTV used to be about music videos until one day somebody says, let's do this show, reality show. Now if you watch MTV, they don't show music videos.
But they're going back to that because they started TRL. See, they started TRL again, and they're going back to videos. But with ESPN, there's nobody I care. Like, I watch PTI because I'm interested in what they have to say. Like, I listen to you when you were on 10. I'm interested to hear. Well, I want to know what Rico has to say about with Michigan State beat Michigan, or Terry and Mike when he was on with Mike. I always was interested in their opinion. There is nobody on ESPN. I don't really care what they have to say. Right. But when PTI, when those guys are off, I don't watch.
Right, because you're looking at these people like,
I
Stop
don't know who. At me. Why are you?
I don't know who you are.
Right.
I don't know why I should be watching you. ESPN is saying you're important, but either you're some ex-athlete or you're just, I don't know who you are.
And it's like the same story about 80 times a day.
And
right?
the athletes are always going to defend athletes. And a coach, when they have coaches on there, no coach should ever get fired. Oh, I know he was 2-50, but that's a hell of a guy, and he knows what he's doing. He's got that organization headed in the right direction. You're like, this guy sucks. What are you talking about?
I think it's just oversimplification. Same reason they said that the NFL, the ratings are down. I tried watching games today. They were horrible. There's nothing. I still go back to my argument. I can sit there and watch 2 college football teams I don't care about on Saturday. I tried watching, I think it was the the Jets and the Dolphins today. It was unwatchable. I didn't know anybody.
Cleveland and
the Titans.
Yeah, but that's like watching Tulane and North Dakota State.
Yeah.
That's how bad they are.
The Packers without Aaron Rodgers
No,
are straight
that was
garbage.
Interesting only because you wanted to see what was happening, and all I kept thinking was, you laid 52 on the Lions, and you only, I was wondering seriously, what is wrong with the Lions?
Even Minnesota, Baltimore. Those are your games you had on TV, and you're going, wow. They went out and started raking leads.
So had nothing to do with the whole anthem and stuff. It's you got a bad product, and I think people are realizing I got better, especially today. It's 78 degrees.
Right.
I'm not watching this garbage.
And the Lions weren't playing, so that's nice.
How much do you think it is the play-by-play people also? Because I was watching the Minnesota game, and it's just there's no insight at all.
You know what?
He rushed the ball. Yes, I saw him rush the ball. You really didn't add anything to that.
I've never been a guy that lived and died on the play-by-play because if it's a good game, it's a good game. And you don't – I don't know who's calling it. All I know is, man, this quarterback is lighting them up. Yeah. Or this run – they can't stop this defense. Or look at this running back. I'm not one that I'm not an announcer snob, I guess is what I'm trying to say, where certain people can only listen to, Joe Buck or Troy Aikman or something.
Nobody can listen to Joe Buck.
Yeah, no one can listen to Joe Buck. And it's not about being a snob. It's just if it's not entertaining, I guess that's part of it too. I want to be entertained. I want to hear a little bit of insight. I do like to hear some stuff like, oh, yeah, I was talking to so-and-so or just good insights. Somebody had a good insight about the offensive line and how they act as a collective unit and a lot of the different habits these guys have. That was entertaining. That was something that ate up some time between plays. So
well,
stuff like that.
I'll tell you one thing. I am being told over and over and over again how good Tony Romo is.
I was about to say, I think Tony Romo actually rocks at it. He lets you know exactly what play it kicks out beforehand.
I don't like him, man. I don't like his voice, man. He sounds like a kid going through puberty.
No, I give you that.
I'm just not into him.
Yeah, I think he does a killer job. He calls almost every play.
But I find that annoying. I don't need to hear what's happening. I want to watch it develop. It doesn't. I want. Yeah.
Sometimes you should figure it out.
Right, but I have to be honest. I think he stopped doing that because I think somebody said something that was in his ear. Because if you've watched, he doesn't do the last couple weeks. He hasn't
backed
been
off
doing
a little bit.
that. He's
hasn't been calling the plays as much.
Right, but when you're coming to play-by-play guys or announcers, I don't pay attention to that either. I like to watch a good game. But what's annoying is if something happens on the field, an injury, and you're not getting that information, why aren't you relaying that information? And that's what kind of bugs me.
Most of the time, I don't even know who's doing the game. I don't know who's doing the game. I just know this is Green Bay.
Apparently, I've listened to Romo before, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was just watching the game. I think the other reason, like I said, going NFL and ESPN kind of go, it's just oversaturated. Yeah. They keep giving you the same thing over and over again, and the NFL is on too many days.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the Thursday.
Eliminate Thursday night football.
You don't miss it. Yeah. Where you used to miss it.
Right.
You used to.
Yeah.
It was
excited.
It was Saturday. It was Sunday, and then Monday.
Right.
And then, but now, it's like, okay, you got Monday, and then you got Thursday, and you got this, you got Sunday night.
And then later in the season, you got Saturday.
Right. And then you
Well,
got
Saturday used to be a big deal. That was really exciting. Ooh, an NFL game on a Saturday
Well,
late
they
in the
did
season.
that the last 3 to 4 weeks of the season.
I would say do the Thursday. I like the Thursday Labor Day. I think that works to kick off the season. And then Thanksgiving.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I don't care. It's just like, man, which week are we in? 'Cause it just bleeds together.
Right. It's almost like a baseball season. You get baseball every night. All right, I'm Terry Foster, Rico, Beard, Rhonda Moss, also the fabulous Ryan and Uber Eric here on the Terry Foster Boombayey podcast. Terry Foster here for the Terry Foster Boombayey podcast. Now, a week ago, I had Michigan Slappies in here, and this was after Michigan State beat Michigan again in football, 8 years out of 10. And I asked a simple question: who has the better football team, the better football program? And both of you, and the Smack is not here today, you, Ryan, and the Smack said Michigan is still king. Now, Michigan just got their ass kicked by Penn State. The Spartans didn't look great, but they still won. And they're playing for championships. I don't think they're going to get it, but at least they're going to play Ohio State and Penn State with an opportunity to go to the Big Ten championship game. Do you stand by your statement that Michigan is still the superior football team in the state of Michigan?
No, I gotta backpedal on that big time.
Ooh.
Just because of what Michigan State brought on the field, way better defense. Their offense moves the ball better than Michigan. Michigan offense is terrible. Offensive line, quarterback.
But that happened a week ago.
I know.
And
I
you
know,
still
I
said
know.
Michigan was the better program.
Well, you were stepping up against Penn State and a big baller team, and somewhere where you had to kind of put it in their face, and they didn't. They full first play of the game. A 70-yard touchdown on Michigan.
14-0. What, first 2 minutes of the game?
Defensive backs got exposed. I don't want to hear we lost a lot, new people, everyone loses, next man up. No, Michigan's in a little bit of trouble.
See, I think he said Michigan because now he's saying this Michigan State because it was Penn State that beat them.
Yeah.
When Michigan State beat them.
Oh yeah.
That's
It was
the Michigan
right.
fans. Michigan fans can't swallow that because it angers them. They are morally against giving them credit. I've heard from Rain. I've heard, if the wind wasn't
But
blowing,
it didn't rain the first 3 quarters of the game.
if it wasn't for the 5 turnovers, I've heard every excuse. And I said, guys, if McDoom didn't drop the pass late, and I said, if Tristan Jackson didn't drop the pass in the second quarter, it would have been 21-3 going into halftime. Your $9 million coaching staff apparently didn't have a weather app on their phone. Everybody and their mother knew a monsoon is coming. State ran up the score and said, we're going to use the wind as the 12th man. But Michigan fans can't ever give State fans credit, which is that whole chip on the shoulder, little brother thing always comes back every year.
And also, Jim Harbaugh is the greatest coach in the history of football.
Well, that's according to some of your colleagues or former colleagues there, Terry.
Yes, I'm just saying that's what I
I
keep
can't wait till
hearing.
next year when they follow him on his next European tour, and we'll see him jumping in pools and having sleepover with kids and whatever he does.
Do you think that I don't have a fight in this? I didn't go to either school, so I really could care less. I think I'm watching Michigan State, Michigan fans fight this out. I find it highly entertaining. But I do find it funny that the excuses that Michigan fans give Jim Harbaugh, it's a pass. It's like, it's year 3, or just like, Jim
Wouldn't they give
Caldwell
it
gives
to-
Matthew Stafford.
Right,
It's year 9. This is when he's really, year 2. This is, year 3 is when quarterbacks really start to develop. Oh, no, year 4, this is when they really get it going. Oh, wait, no, it's year 6. This is when they get over that hump.
Rhonda?
Is it the same thing that people are going to give Jim Harbaugh. It's like, this is year 3, right? So, oh wait, nope, it's going to be year 4. This is it. Year 4 is when they're going to really go all the way.
They weren't willing to do that for Rich Rodriguez or Brady Hoke. Both of them sucked, and they recognized
Right,
that.
well,
So
and the Messiah
Harbaugh
came back.
And that's
so.
the reason being for both, same answer. You have nothing else. This has to work or we're all fired. If Jim Harbaugh does not work out at Michigan, who's next? Who could walk into his shoes?
Yeah.
Because unless Bo comes back from the dead, you got nothing.
All right, so I have another question. Why is it? I thought Harbaugh was supposed to be a quarterback guru.
Boom.
That's what I heard. That's what I kept
so
telling.
a corn. It's like I'm watching this game and I'm like, why aren't they opening it up? Why aren't they just see what happens? I mean,
Because they don't think you
before
can
this
do it.
game,
Yeah.
He was what? One touchdown in 18 trips to the red zone since he took over.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't you opening it up for him? If he's the announcers, he's got a pretty good arm. So why aren't they opening it up? Are receivers not getting open? And then the defense.
I don't think those receivers get open. And the other thing is, you don't have confidence in the guy. That's why you don't open
Then
it up.
take him out and put somebody
Yeah.
else in, somebody you have confidence in, because that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Maybe
offensive-
that person
That's
doesn't
the excuse
exist.
they're going to use.
Rhonda, I would
Our
say
starting
that-
quarterback got hurt.
I would say the quarterback guru may actually be in East Lansing.
Well, I mean,
He's got 3 quarterbacks playing on Sunday, and a 4th one looking like he's on his way.
to that though, these were 2 guys that Harbaugh said that he brought in that were his guys, of Peters and McCaffrey.
So
I'm with you.
play
Why,
one
I'm
of
with you.
them.
Why aren't they playing? Then they had a
Why-
bye week to get
explain.
one ready, right?
Explain.
Why not play the 2 guys?
Yeah,
the other guys?
I don't.
Peters and McCaffrey.
I mean, yeah.
Because you look at them in
McCaffrey-
practice, say they're not ready.
Well, McCaffrey is a
Redshirt, yeah,
he's a true freshman.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard he weighs like 135
To
pounds.
throw a true freshman in there with that offensive line, you can kill his confidence, and he may never. It's David Carr when he played for the Texans.
Right. Okay.
He got sacked so many times, he's still hearing footsteps when he wakes up in the morning. Peters, I don't know. Because honestly, I never thought I would utter this phrase, but next week when they play Rutgers, that's a battle for 4th place.
They have the same record.
Michigan and Rutgers are going to be battling out for 4th place. If you were ever going to play Peters, it's that game. Rutgers is not that good. If you don't play Peters, then it's almost like Harbaugh he's the type of coach that he's so obtuse. You're going to do it my way because my way works. Right. I'm not going to build around my players. My players will go around my system. The only problem with Michigan is, and I ask this all the time, Terry, maybe you know, you're the wisest man in this room.
I don't know about that.
What is Michigan's system? What does Michigan do? Certain teams, when you see them, you know this is what they run, and they recruit to that system. That's why Wisconsin will always have good offensive linemen and a good running back because that's what they do. Iowa, you know what Iowa runs. MSU, you know what they run. Ohio State. When you look at Michigan, the last time I knew what Michigan ran offensively, it was Rich Rodriguez. He said, I'm running a spread. Brady Hoke never had a system. Denard, just go do your thing and wing it. Devin Gardner, go do your thing and wing it. I see that now with O'Corn. I don't know what Michigan – I mean, 4th and 11, you're down and you lined up in a power I and ran a play-action pass. You're down 21. Nobody in that building bought that.
Yeah, they can't adjust. What they're trying to do is run off tackle. Power football, what Harbaugh is trying to do, we're trying to go back to the days of Bo where we're tough. We're tough. We're going to run off tackle. I don't care if it's 3rd and 10. We're going to run that play, and it's going to work. That's what he's trying to do, and he's trying to do it, go off play action and everything, and then have a very aggressive defense, which Bo did not have. They had a passive defense back there, but they're trying to play big boy football, and that doesn't work.
Okay, so on the flip side, are people going to say about your Spartans, well, they haven't played anyone?
Well, technically, they haven't played anyone this year. They played Notre Dame and they lost.
Right, exactly.
And that was
so
probably
when
the
you
only
look
team.
at that, right. So now down the next couple weeks, I don't know their schedule.
Well, they're gonna have Penn State and they got Ohio State.
Right.
So they got Northwestern this week.
Northwestern beat Iowa.
No.
Yesterday, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they did beat them,
Yeah, they
17-10
beat them
overtime.
in overtime.
Yeah.
It's all relative. I don't think that Michigan
But I'm
State.
saying when you're arguing, when people are arguing, this is what they're going to say. Michigan,
Well-
we know they're bad.
well,
but
here's the beauty
who
of
has
it.
Michigan State playing?
And you know what? And when Michigan fans tell me that, I say they haven't played anybody
right.
because they've beaten a bunch of easy teams.
And they were lucky to beat Indiana because they were what was it, 10-9, whatever going.
It was
into-
9. It was 9-3 going with like
9-3,
6
right.
minutes to go in the
Right.
game. Here's the thing: certain teams just find ways to win. You're supposed to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and you're supposed to be competitive in the other games. I had Michigan State, even though everybody else written them off. I said this is a team that could go 9-3. I thought between Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, they would win one of those games. Now, looks like they've already won. They get a chance to play Penn State. When they play Ohio State, I don't know. D'Antonio has the recipe on how to beat Urban Meyer. He's the only coach that can consistently, as bad as they were last year, they lost by 1 point, a failed 2-point conversion. Your destiny is in your own hands. So if you're MSU, from as bad as you were, everybody was all smiles yesterday because they won their 6th game. And they knew we're going to a bowl game this year.
I just think it's better when both teams are kind of winning and on the upswing, and then there's that. But now it's like, people are Michigan. It's just.
Let me ask you.
Give you a headache.
Let me ask you a question here real fast about Harbaugh, because I was a big fan when he came over. I'm thinking, Michigan got why does he get the credit that he has? Because really he had Luck, who that's an elite quarterback, went to San Fran. That was already a pretty stacked NFL team.
He gets the credit because of Andrew Luck, except for Andrew Luck was going to go to Stanford
Kaepernick, he gets
regardless.
that.
He gets pulling Alex Smith and putting in Kaepernick, except for you found out maybe Alex Smith was the better quarterback, but he went with Kaepernick.
Yeah.
But
It
with the
worked
time
at the
and
time.
Here's the thing. He left the NFL to come to Michigan, and so Michigan fans can say, "Hey, we got
But he
somebody
had
from the
burned his
NFL."
bridges at San Francisco.
Damn straight.
People don't know that,
which is why
They
he
don't-
came to
He
Michigan.
was
Now,
going to get fired anyway, so it didn't
Yes.
matter.
he comes to
whether-
Michigan with great PR, a lot of hype.
One of those boys.
But when you sit there and say, okay, let's take a look at the trophy case.
Yeah.
Trophy case is empty.
Yeah.
Well, what did he do in the Pac-12? Did he ever win the Pac-12? No, but he beat USC once. Okay.
Here's what I say. I think he's a good coach, but to assume this guy is a savior and assume this guy's just going to march in and dominate the Big Ten and Michigan State will never beat Michigan again, I think that's almost like hero worship. You're looking at this guy as like the Jesus of college football, and he's not.
Yeah.
And
He'll set everybody straight. Right. He's going to do this.
Yeah.
I think his act is getting a little old
It
in
is.
terms of the let's go to Europe,
Yeah.
let's go to this, let's do all these satellite camps, all the
he wins the
Climbing
spring.
trees for his
Right.
Yeah.
He does. He wins the spring
Yeah.
and
just
summer.
like
Yep.
during training camp, so and so is really good June, July, and August. Come September, and it's like
Yep.
He's good at expanding the brand.
And that's
Jump
what he
man,
does.
yeah.
He's got Jordan Brand. He's bringing all these captains
Yep.
in. We're doing this. We're doing that. And I always laugh. I'm like, apparently there's no money in the budget to go to Indianapolis because you've never been there before and you're not going again this year.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that counts. Terry
But
often said.
here's what's going to happen. Next year, they will be ranked ahead of Michigan State. No matter what happens, yes, they will.
No, I don't know
they're
about that.
always ranked. When I think State was 11-3, and they beat Michigan like 29-6. Michigan was ranked ahead of Michigan State. They're almost always ranked ahead of them. Even the last 10 years, even though State kicks their ass every year, they're at
They
the
start the year
at the
on the
beginning
right
of the season. They're ranked higher, and they will be ranked higher than State next
No,
year,
two
and will
years
be
ago-
favored.
2 years ago, when State went to the playoffs, they started off ranked higher than Michigan. I do remember that. That
Okay.
was the first time. And that's why I remember it, because it was the first time that the preseason came. I think State was 8 and Michigan was 11.
Is that just because of recruits bringing in? They'll be
No,
ranked
it's
higher?
because of the names.
It's good as name. I mean, certain names, Notre Dame, Texas,
Yeah.
Alabama. If you look at the top 10 every year, it's the same names.
Yeah.
They just reshuffle them.
Yeah.
Put Alabama 1, Clemson 2,
Georgia,
Ohio State.
Georgia, Ohio
Ohio
State,
State, yeah.
Penn State, Notre Dame, Texas. Texas started off ranked high this year.
You're always going to rank Oklahoma ahead of
Florida.
Oklahoma State, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just part of it.
Texas will always be ranked higher than TCU.
Now, could Harbaugh be doing all this for recruitment purposes? Like, hey, you come to Michigan and you're going to get to go to Europe, and we've got all this great apparel and everything. And so it's like a long-term strategy, and he's trying to get a leg up on everyone that way.
I do know recruits who are like, I mean, you get 4 free trips to Europe or overseas on the company's dime. Okay, if I got to choose between your 2 schools, Rhonda, you're taking me to Australia, I'm going around.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Kids like that. I mean,
You get the swag.
I know a former Michigan running back, Jamie Morris. Do you know why he liked Michigan?
Why?
The helmets. The helmets drew him in,
That's right.
and that's how so then he ended up being a Wolverine. But, things like that attract kids. Us older folks look at it and say that's stupid, but when you're 17 or 18 or 15 or 14, you're like, hey.
I mean, how
That's
many people
pretty
just
cool.
went because of the logo, right? The Jumpman.
And it's also
a lot.
the history, too, that
And the Fab Five.
See,
yeah,
I
sure.
don't,
Kids look out for the
see, I
Fab
don't
Five.
think the history
Not anymore.
because, honestly, any kid being recruited right now, I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah.
I've never seen Michigan win.
Yeah.
They
My,
might know.
my son,
Their parents know.
I'm
They
gonna
might not
date
know about
myself,
Biaka
but
Batuka and all
when
them,
you
right?
said
They
Jamie
don't-
Morris at the helmet kind of right of the Brady Bunch. Oh, he fit the suit.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Wow, he fit the suit.
He looked
no,
good in the
my
suit.
my
He fit
son
the
is
suit.
15 years old, does not play football, but if he was, I mean, schools would be looking at him. He's 15. He doesn't know Michigan as a football power. He said, well, Michigan State should beat Michigan this year because they do every year. He doesn't have the perspective that he's a young kid, and,
Right, no,
and
but
he
I
doesn't
also
know
think
Michigan
these
as being
kids
good.
know Jim Harbaugh was a head coach for in the NFL. I think that's also
They know that,
right?
yes.
They do, but they know him. He's wacky. He's crazy. He's zany.
Yeah.
Look at he jumped in the swimming pool with one of his recruits. He did this. He's
Flipped over
Did
Quinn
pass routes with the
Ortiz
shirts
out.
off.
right. He's a
Right.
he's a little bit of a sideshow.
Yeah.
But that point brings it back to they can't use the winning heritage anymore to bring recruits in. That's why he's doing all this. That's why he's
If he was
doing the trips
recruiting
and
a
everything.
45-year-old dude, they could.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a
Exactly. That's what I'm
45-year-old
saying.
can't play
But-
college
Yeah, he
football.
wants.
recruits
Yes,
the parents.
he's trying to get your son or a type of person like your
Yeah, the
son,
parent.
and he can't go in and be like, remember Bo and remember all those other championships. No, he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, but we're going to Europe. If you're
Right, but
a
I
starter,
mean-
you're going 4 times. I'd like to do that.
Well, congratulations. You're now competing with PJ Fleck.
Yeah.
Because that's who you're competing with. PJ Fleck does the same thing. Row the boat. We're going to do this. Going to
Yeah,
do that.
but he's in
I'm high
Minnesota.
energy. Right, but I'm
He's
still,
in Minnesota. We
I'm
don't
high
pay
energy
attention
guy.
to him.
But still,
Right.
you're not really selling anything but an act.
Yeah.
Occasionally, you got to walk past that trophy case, and kids have to see. Or I often laugh. Nick Saban just walks in his office, puts on all his championship rings, and just says, "Do you want to come to Alabama?" And just puts his hand up to his face. And that's all you got to do. And that's
right.
Coach,
Yeah.
son, if you come to Alabama, I guarantee you'll play in at least 2 national championships.
And you're playing in the NFL.
Before you, but even if you don't play in the NFL, you'll play in at least 2 national championship games, and you'll at least win 1 and get a ring.
I want to know the excuse that they're gonna, that they're talking about now. Is it
Too
Charlie
young.
Corn, too
They're too
young?
young. Oh yeah, they're too
Well, so
young.
is Michigan State. You
Uh,
can say that too.
But yeah, but Michigan State doesn't count in their mind. Michigan State is smoke and mirrors to Michigan fans. They win. It's always Michigan State won, but and then they fill
You
in
know
the
what was
blank.
interesting really about this Penn State game is it not so much the offense, but the defense really laid an egg. Really couldn't stop them doing anything. That's surprising to me because I think a lot of people.
Because you had talent on the field.
Well, it doesn't
That's
seem
why.
like that's been the past couple of games. State kind of gives up, or Michigan gives up 14 points, and it's like, all right, well, now we got them, guys. Halftime's coming,
you know
and
what I'm
then
saying? It's like, okay, well, a defense can keep us in the game, and they weren't able to do that at all.
The
Because
Michigan
it was
defense-
14,
Yeah,
they
13,
stepped on
and
their- they stepped on
second
their
half,
throat
it
right
was like,
away.
forget it.
They step on the throat of bad teams, and they really shut out bad teams. And you're thinking, "Ooh, this defense is great." And I kept you're not going to stop Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Florida did not have an offense. Michigan State does not have an offense.
Florida is a bad team.
Purdue doesn't
and they
have
lost
an
10
offense.
guys at that game, right? They-
Florida is 2 plays away from being 1-5. For some reason, Tennessee took the Jim Caldwell Hail Mary method
Oh, that back and forth kind of thing?
and thought that they were going to do that and let the guy run past everybody in the secondary. And then they played Kentucky, and Kentucky only put 10 men out there and didn't cover the wide receiver. They hiked through the ball to wide receiver, and they won the game that way. So
That's
not
what you
that
call
good.
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So now, when you play Ohio State and Penn State and
Wisconsin.
I'm throwing Wisconsin,
Yeah.
that's when you find out, do you have a good defense or not? Because one thing that I heard about Michigan State that I'm kind of laughing at is they're bowl eligible. So what? So you got your 6 wins and you can go to the Sun Bowl or the.
Yes, but coming from
Jimmy
where they were
Johnson.
last year,
But you
3-9,
shouldn't win. You shouldn't
No, I
be
understand
3-9
that, but I'm
as
saying
a
that
Michigan
it's a
State.
vast improvement. Well, okay, so now you're bowl.
But you should
eligible.
never
Let's
win
go
3
from
games
here.
at Michigan
Terry,
State.
Terry, that's just one thing they cross off the list. It's not we just want to win 6 games. It was
Right.
It,
Let's
it's
get to
it's,
6
it's
and
kind
then
of
go
like
from
when you
there.
lose something, when you get it back, you treasure it a little more.
No, for
you
sure.
don't take it for granted that we just always go to a bowl game because it was taken away.
Damn straight.
They still want more. It was just the fact of knowing, man, last year we could barely get to 3 games. Now look at us. We're 6-1.
Right.
And all the destiny is in front of us.
I wouldn't even mention that.
Achievement unlocked.
We're
is all it
6-1
is.
now, and shame
Never
on
beat
you
the
for
game.
going 3-9.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
Well, I mean, but 3-9.
The bottom line is
gutted
you
4
should go
superstars.
8-4 or above if you're a good team.
No.
Michigan State is not Purdue. It's not
Terry, they're not
Indiana.
Purdue. They got rid of 4 guys who were going to play. Donnie Corley, they were probably going to mount a Heisman campaign for him. This guy was going to be Mr. Everything. He's gone. Defensive guys are gone. They lost a lot, and then to bring a young freshmen and all of these guys in there, and they're still winning. So it was one of those it wasn't like they came in with a trophy and paraded around the room. It was one of those. And by the way,
But then,
we're
Tony, it was
bowl
the first
eligible.
thing you mentioned, and I'm sorry. If you are what I consider to be a good team or above, I'm not going to give you a cookie for winning 6 games.
And see, that's what a lot of Michigan fans are going to see right there. That this year we lost a lot. It's the kind of we lost a lot. Our whole defensive backs are all new. Offensive line's all new. Which, I'm on the man of next man up. You're in the Big Ten football. Time to play.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I didn't see the way it was done. And looking at what happened to them, I understood.
Yeah.
They never did that before, where he came in and said, "Hey, we're bowl eligible." But it was, look, last year was bad. Every week, you guys reminded me how bad last year was. So based off of that, guess what? We're in.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, you're right. Now like they're going, hey, Jimmy Johns, here we go.
Right.
Did you hear Harbaugh's quote after the game, though?
The Fairweather fans are going.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh, it's us
Yeah.
against everybody
Yeah.
now.
The Fairweather fans are gone.
Yeah.
The bandwagon's gone. It's just us.
I mean, I told you at the gym that if it was 17-3 by half, I wanted Peters in. And I thought, I don't care if it's Penn State, I don't care if it was Michigan State, rainy game. You're playing Big Ten football, trying to get in and
If you
play.
put Peters in, you are conceding the season.
Yeah, but this,
But Michigan can never
You're
do
right-
that.
you're right.
If Michigan was, you go all the way back to Brady Hoke. If Brady was smart, he would have moved Denard to running back, put Devin Gardner at quarterback, had a deadly 1-2 combination,
absolutely.
and probably won. But you couldn't do that. You got to sell tickets. You got to sell jerseys. You got to make Michigan fans feel at all times that there is a hope for them to win a championship. Instead of being smart and saying, this year we're not going to be as good, but next year we're going to be better. Michigan fans don't ever want to hear that. Why can't we
Because
just be
worst
good this
case
year?
scenario now is you lose to Wisconsin and
yeah.
Ohio State. Okay, 8-4.
And what
or
about
9-4
Minnesota?
Is not
Scenario,
great.
You lose to Rutgers next week.
what about Minnesota?
Well,
Honestly, we can't
I don't know
throw
if
away
I've-
Minnesota.
I don't know if
I'm throwing
I've
away
lived-
Minnesota.
I don't know if I've lived a charmed enough life for them to lose to Rutgers.
Oh, we lost Appalachia State. Whatever.
They did lose to Rutgers before. I'm not going to count that one. But if you go to Peters, you could lose to Rutgers and Minnesota. You could throw that in the box.
Season's already, it's a wrap.
So
my
6
opinion.
and 6, Michigan fans would have nothing to talk about. Michigan, I hate. They're not realistic.
What do we got to talk about now, anyways? Right? I mean,
Right, but at least most the smart ones will say we're building something. But
kinda-
most of the fans need now.
Yeah.
They're the 6-year-old who needs constant. I need it now. I need it now. But if you wait, it'll be so much. Nope, need it now.
Year 3.
So
though.
next
Come
year,
on.
you'll break in another brand new quarterback, his 4th new quarterback in 4 years. And that's why I was like, I don't think you beat State next year. I'm like, Lewerke knows State's going to return 20 or 22 starters. Lewerke's going to have another year under his belt. It's going to be at MSU. you're going to be breaking in Brandon Peters or McCaffrey, or maybe you bring back Spate.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because
I mean-
Spate, what do you do with him?
I mean, you're right about that though
He's
too.
coming
Say,
back.
Fans wanted to get rid of him.
say
He's
they
coming back.
Say they put Peters in, finish this year out. Is he even their option next year, or is it McCaffrey? Right? You're right. Yeah.
Is it McCaffrey? Is it Spate? I mean, he won't just say, "You're my guy."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to roll.
It's going to be a quarterback
Yeah,
battle.
he kinda knows
we'll
what that's
figure
up
it all
to.
out. That's what I was
Urban
going to
Meyer,
say.
JT Barrett, you know what? I'm willing to lose, but I'm going to go with you, and I'm going to ride you for the next 4 years.
Yeah. Damn straight.
This is Terry Foster, Rico Beard, the wonderful Rhonda Moss, also E. Lund, and young Ryan here. Ryan from the Gym on the Boombayey Terry Foster podcast. Terry Foster here for the Boombayey podcast, and I've got some bad news. My friend Ryan over here not only is a expert on pro wrestling, but he has stats. And how can you have stats on pro wrestling? You also have a Mount Rushmore of pro wrestlers. Is this all-time wrestlers or guys right now
No.
who are the top 4 of all time?
I mean, we're gonna throw in all time here, right? I mean, that's-
I win all time.
Yeah, we went all time.
Okay.
I mean, because what happened was we saw Ric Flair came out with his Mount Rushmore, and him and Hogan and The Rock and Stone Cold on there, so it intrigued us to start
Okay.
going with it, right?
Yes.
So, T. Foss, you want to start off
Well,
the battle, or
I think Hulk Hogan has to be
Oh,
on
yeah,
there.
yeah.
I mean, I know he's the leg drop and he might be a little bit hokey, but he's the reason I started watching it again. I go the wrestlers I used to watch are nothing compared to the guys now. And I'm talking about Bobo Brazil, The Sheik, Pampero Firpo. I mean, these guys can't hold a candle to what you see now.
Yeah.
But I have to put Hulk Hogan on there. Even though the guy was not a good wrestler and could barely move and was drunk all the time, Andre the Giant.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's common sense for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know, those are 2 of my guys
Okay.
right now.
I
But I want to hear your list
All
because
right.
you're the pro on
well,
this.
I'm from the pro. We'll see. My Mount Rushmore, I kind of did like you, kind of where not only were they awesome wrestlers, but also what they did to wrestling to change it right away. Andre the Giant, definitely on that Mount Rushmore. Might be the biggest one on there, honestly, because of him.
Literally.
I mean, yeah, and literally.
so big.
And of no one, you never seen that in wrestling. You never seen it. I mean, this guy was humongous, and he moved around okay at first for a big guy. And then you notice, watch some stuff now. He always held onto a rope nearby.
Well, that was in the later years.
Yeah.
When he was still in France and touring Europe, he was quite athletic for his size.
big. So then I roll with Giant. All right.
But you have to understand this. WrestleMania 3 at the Silverdome, I covered that event. Now, I got to talk to some people, which was pretty rare. You remember when he had Hulk Hogan in the bear hug
Oh,
for
yeah.
like 10, 15 minutes? Hulk Hogan was actually holding him up because Andre was in such bad shape that they made it appear that he was in a bear hug from Andre the Giant and he was barely holding on, but actually Hulk Hogan was holding Andre the Giant up.
Really?
Because he was, I don't know if he was drunk or he was just in bad shape, but that was kind of a farce there back then.
Now I'm probably getting the number wrong here, but what did they say how much alcohol he could drink in one consuming and not be drunk about it? Was it a keg? Or honestly, it was something ridiculous.
He probably
amount
could do
it was
a
ridiculous
keg.
amount
It
of
was
money.
like 50, 12 ounces.
Yeah, he could put his booze.
I
down.
served him beer before.
Andre the Giant.
Yes, at the Lindell AC. He came in on a Saturday. He would come in the Lindell AC.
And left on a Monday.
Yeah.
And yeah, left on a Monday. But I remember he would order 2 beers at a time.
Okay.
And I think I gave him 8 beers. And Lindell AC at the time had third-pound hamburgers on real big
Yeah,
sesame seed buns and everything. When he picked them up, they looked like White Castles in his hands.
That's awesome. Oh,
But
man.
he would drink like 8, 10 beers.
Not even catch a buzz.
Yeah, he would say, "Oh, I'm good."
All right, so I got the Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Next, of course, the guy you just rolled with, Hulk Hogan. Not only how big he made wrestling, in WWF back then, we'll say, it's WWE now, but also going to WCW, Foreman, NWO, a network that brought wrestling back with him and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
Yes.
I mean, they brought wrestling back. And Hogan of just eat your vitamins and your brother.
He lost me though when he became Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
But he was a bad guy. That's what people liked about it. At first, you're like, okay, I get this a little bit.
Then he had a black beard or something. Yeah.
I'll pencil. And then he really never got rid of the black beard. All of a sudden, when he came back to WWE, he still had the black beard a little bit. So then I go with him, and then I throw if you want to say the youngest guy, of Stone Cold Steve Austin, because Stone Cold was another guy in wrestling generation when wrestling was dying. Stone Cold brought it back with his SOB attitude, drinking beer all the time, kicking Vince McMahon's butt around.
Right.
Stone Cold brought wrestling back. That was my haymaker of the wrestling era.
And he's a guy that you could see kicking your ass at the bar. For real.
Oh yeah, kicking the shit. And then maybe having a beer with me after. I don't know.
Yes, right, absolutely.
And then my final one is the guy who you might try to disagree with, but he's the one I made the stats for. Because you could have your stinger,
stats.
you could have your stinger. You could argue about him of Sting of what he changed of WCW wrestling, the Ric Flairs, the Undertakers, the Ultimate Warriors, the Rock, Goldberg when he came into wrestling. What Goldberg did, I think it was 62 matches in a row he won.
Over on no, it was like 200.
I mean, what he did it was unbelievable.
Right.
But I'm not really gonna try to throw Goldberg in that mix, and it is Randy Macho Man Savage. So
I'm all for the Macho Man.
With
and
the Macho Man,
Elizabeth.
And he also had Sensational Sherry. That was two big managers that he had in his time. 32 years, 24 titles, pretty solid.
Solid.
He had the WWF Championship belt twice, WCW 4 times. He is named the greatest Intercontinental Champion in WWE. And I mean the matches of him and Ricky Steamboat, WrestleMania. I mean that was hands down the best, right? Also part of NWO, the Mega Powers, him and Hulk Hogan. So yeah, that's my 4: Giant, Hogan, Stone Cold, Macho Man.
Okay.
All right. I do have one in common with yours.
One?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'll start with Lou Thez. Lou Thez, Michigan's own, born in the Upper Peninsula. He held a championship for over a combined 10 years, and the 14 times he held a championship, that is 3 months more than any other person who's ever held a championship in the annals of wrestling.
Lou Thez?
Yeah, what year is this?
Thez. This is back in the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah, oh my God. You did go old school.
Okay.
What the heck?
So this was a time when wrestling was still sort of revered, and
He probably
kayfabe
had a gut.
and kayfabe was still intact. People thought it was legit. So there's some great photos of him with I'm blanking now. Joe Louis. Him and Joe Louis hanging out together. And Stan Musial hanging out together. They thought he was like a legitimate athlete. So I think that's...
They told us it was real, and the public bought it.
So he was part of the sports culture then, unlike they are now. Wrestlers and sports culture are very distinct. They do not intertwine. They kind of do, but they try to keep them separate.
I don't know. They bring a lot of football players into wrestling.
Yeah,
There's been a lot.
Yeah, but you're not going to see something like today where you would have like Roman Reigns hanging out with Justin Verlander.
Hey, man, Mongo McMichaels. He was part of the Four Horsemen.
What about Dick the Bruiser?
And then you had Kevin Green and Dennis Rodman over at WCW.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Ric Flair. Ric Flair changed wrestling. He is so imitated by so many other wrestlers. He's influenced so many other wrestlers. And not to mention draw. Holy cow, did that dude draw. Wherever he went, green everywhere.
Yep.
That's why he got booked. I mean, the promoters were making money hand over fist with that man. And that's why he was, and he's not going to be more, a 16-time world champion. Next, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Same reason, too. Draw. That man made so much money for Vince McMahon and that company. Unreal. And not only did he draw, as you said, he became a folk hero in the United States. Like he was beyond just wrestling. He cut across everything in culture, and his merchandise. Like he really brought about like T-shirt merchandising like no one else had. And I don't know if a lot of people know, he got a cut like on almost all those T-shirts. Like he wrote that into his contract that he designed the T-shirts, and that he got like a massive cut for all those that got sold
Oh, yeah.
under the WWE like umbrella or banner or however you want to say.
And when he came out with Austin 316 says, "I'm gonna kick your ass," that took it over, man.
Oh, yeah. People still bring
Damn
like
straight.
316 signs.
All right, I got an inside wrestling story for you.
Want to hear that?
Have you ever heard of Davy Boy Smith?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
British Bulldog.
Come on.
So anyway, I'm in Charlotte, covering the Pistons and the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay.
And at the hotel bar, I think it was a Marriott near the Charlotte Coliseum, whatever they call it. The wrestlers are staying there. So there's this woman, she's drunk and everything. She gets into an argument with the British Bulldogs. And she threw a drink in Davy Boy Smith's face. And she said, "My boyfriend is coming here and he's gonna kick your ass.
Good
'Cause
luck.
you've been
Yeah,
messing
good luck
with
with
him."
that one.
First of all, Davy Boy Smith didn't do anything to this woman. He was just talking to her and everything. She gets all drunk and pissed off, and it wasn't just a drink; it was like a pink drink.
Oh, nice.
So messed his shirt up and everything. So then I'm thinking that I'm there with Drew Sharp. I'm just like, damn, she has her boyfriend has got to come in here and got to
Get his
protect his woman. I said, you got to fight a dude. It's not just any dude, but it's somebody who's a pro wrestler. And I said, I feel sorry for him. So anyway, she's arguing and bitching at this guy, Davy Boy Smith, he's a puss and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, damn.
I just want to add into this that Davy Boy Smith was partly trained by Stu Hart, who trained Bret the Hitman Hart and all the other Harts. They have lots
The
of
Hitman
elements.
was there too.
Yes, they have lots of
yes.
elements of fighting in that training, so they like legit know how to fight.
Wasn't he really married to the Hart sister, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knows legitimately
like
how
Jim
to
the
fight.
Neidhart,
It's
right?
not just wrestling.
Right. So anyway, we were going to leave, and I said, we can't leave. I got to wait for my boy to come in here and see what mess he's already in it. This guy's probably getting off work. He's going to meet my woman at the bar. We're going to have a couple drinks and have a good time. Lo and behold, the guy shows up. Average-looking guy. He looked like a friendly guy and everything. And his woman says, this man over here has been messing with me, which is not true.
Okay.
It was not true.
Okay.
He did not disrespect her. He disrespected me, and he called me all kinds of names and everything. She was just lying. I said, oh, man. And so then she said something about my honor has been disrespected.
Oh, geez.
And you need to do something about it. And so then he knew, it was Bret Hart and Davy Boy Smith. He knew who they were. And he's like, really?
Hey, I'm going to get my ass kicked.
He said, this is the mess you got me into. You get drunk, and so now you want me to fight these dudes who are professional wrestlers. Are you kidding me? And so finally, he looks at her and says, look, if they disrespected you, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do anything about it. That's on you, girl. So then she gets mad at him. And so then he ends up talking to Davy Boy Smith and Bret Hart, and he says, look, he apologized for her. And so then they ended up talking, having a good time. He said, man, I'm not here to fight. He said, I'm not going to get my ass kicked. First of all, he says, I don't care who you are. I'm not going to come to the bar on a Friday night to fight. I'm here to have a good time and stuff. So it ended up they ended up talking, having a good time. They had drinks together. Homegirl left, and then they ended up being like friends for the evening, just having a good old time and everything.
Cool.
And she said, I'm not going to fight people because you're a drunk ass.
Do you remember the British Bulldog's dog's name?
Oh, man. No.
Matilda.
Oh, man.
Just being a nerd.
Now that you mention that, yes, I do remember now. It was Matilda.
The Heenan family stole them. Remember that?
that I don't remember. Unfortunately, Bobby Heenan recently passed away. That's a big loss for the wrestling community. Best manager of all time. No one did it as well as him.
That's when management was cool. You had him and Mr. Fuji.
Jim Cornette.
Oh, yeah. The Heenan family was huge. That was Andre the Giant and the Barbarian, right? Or Humaka, whatever, that big Hawaiian guy. I can't remember his name.
Who's your least favorite wrestler?
Oh, man.
There's this guy. You're not going to know. I hated this guy. His name was Prince Pullins. He used to lose every match, and when he got hit, he always opened his mouth like, "Oh my God, that hurt." He was the worst wrestler I'd ever seen, and he was supposed to be a prince from some island or
That
something.
was like the Brooklyn Brawler back then. I remember every time he was on, he lost.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Brawler.
Well, he would beat the guys you never heard of.
Oh, all right. I
Brooklyn
kind of
Brawler.
I couldn't stand this Gold Dust guy. I really can't stand him. You know, Dusty Rhodes.
Son, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big Gold Dust fan. And
I hated the honky tonk man.
oh yeah, wasn't a big honky tonk fan at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so since this is going to be like really inside baseball, and I'm going to sound like a baseball writer, I don't like Hulk Hogan because of all the bullshit backstage stuff he pulled to advance his own career. He purposely did not put people over he should have put over in order to better the business for years. Totally selfish, total asshole.
He sold. He was the man.
I know,
Hulkamania ruled.
but just an unmitigated asshole behind the curtain, and because of that, I can't stand
So
him.
I didn't know he did all this.
Oh, yeah, horrible.
I mean, there's probably a lot of
I
behind the scenes
I
of
just
the
know
wrestling.
I took my vitamins because
Oh,
of
yeah?
Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah. Said my prayers, brother.
That's right.
Who's the rest of your Mount Rushmore?
Oh, my last one was Macho Man Randy Savage.
There you
Macho,
go.
see, because I feel Macho Man took the over-the-top cartoonish persona, which was really popular, and he did a really good job of blending it with athleticism. Now, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat has athleticism, but he wasn't that over-the-top character
yeah.
like Randy Savage was. So that's why, and now that's the template for what came into the 90s and then so the Attitude Era into the Ruthless Aggression era was having a big, outrageous at 11 personality, but you know what? You could still do the work.
The Macho Man was probably the most intense guy.
Oh,
He
yeah.
seemed that personality.
Oh, yeah.
Well, him and the Ultimate Warrior. I mean,
Yeah.
the Warrior was. He came down.
Right. The Warrior was intense. The Warrior couldn't work worth a damn.
Again, though, back to that story of the Warrior myth that we thought there was like 7 of them. The Texas Tornado was the second Ultimate Warrior. He was the one who
I'm not saying he's bad, but that's your guy.
he was.
He's
Hey,
your
all right,
guy.
do you remember who? How can I word this? What wrestler, big man, came into wrestling versus the Ultimate Warrior? Or he came on stage that he could, was the strongest man, could lift anybody, and he called a wrestler out of the stands. He was a fan at that time to come up, and he was going to do push-ups on top of him. Do you remember this at all?
No.
And the guy was the Earthquake. This big old fat guy comes on there, and Warrior's about to do push-ups on him, and Earthquake does the Earthquake bomb on top of him.
Oh,
And,
jeez.
I mean, Warrior, and now doing that and looking a little bit today, he did only win the belt twice. I mean, he did. He was just a huge. Him and Hogan, when they needed another Royd head to fight against, they were perfect against each other.
Yeah, he was difficult to work with too behind the scenes.
Oh, I bet.
He would just up and miss appearances, demand way more than his share, or the cut of the gate compared to anyone else. And yeah, Vince tolerated it so long because he was making money. But after a while, if you're not making appearances or you're not fulfilling your contract, they sever ties. But then again, how the wrestling business goes or how things operate in WWE world, enough water flows under the bridge, and the people may forget about you just enough to forget the bad stuff. Phone calls get made. I think we can make some money again. All right, come back on board.
yeah.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you guys way back. Here's the Mount Rushmore of
Oh man,
big-time wrestling. The Sheik.
Yep.
Oh,
The Sheik.
Iron Sheik. We'll make
No,
you
no,
humble.
no, no,
the
no, no.
Sheik.
Well, not, it was just
Yeah.
the Sheik, not the Iron Sheik. The Sheik was from the Middle East, and he used to he used to talk like this, and he used to set you on fire.
Now, didn't the Sheik come back at some time, and he was Iron Sheik's and some other person's, not Nikolai Volkov, he was someone's manager, I thought at some time.
He may have been a manager, but he was not the Iron Sheik, and was not
No,
Nikolai
yeah.
Volkov. He had a big feud with Bobo Brazil, big black brother from Benton Harbor, Michigan, supposedly.
Nice.
So he was that was that big rivalry there. Bobo would get him. The Sheik would beat him most of the time, and the Sheik had this. I don't know how he did it, but he had this thing on his hands that he could blow fire on you.
Oh, man.
And once you put the fire in you were done. That was it.
Oh, I think so, right?
Damn.
Good finisher.
Catch it on fire right there.
Damn, I was kicking your ass. Then you set me on fire. That's not right.
He had to have been a heel. That's got to be a heel move, right?
Yeah, I don't know. And then he had those shoes that pointed up in the air, like the little.
The little Aaron Sheik had the same ones, the
Yeah.
little tips, whatever
Yep,
they were.
Little tips that went up like that. So, and I actually got chased out of the ring by the Sheik one time.
Oh, there you
I
go.
did I was an announcer at Warren Lincoln High School, and it was the Sheik against somebody else. And so the Sheik chased me out of the ring, almost hit me with his championship belt.
Awesome.
And I flew out of the ring and stuff like that. It was a fundraiser at Warren Lincoln High School. So
My only cool little, definitely was really young. My uncle was working at the Palace, doing a bunch of stuff there, and they had a wrestling event going on, and he put Jake the Snake on the phone. We had to bullshit with him for a little bit when I was a little kid. It was cool. I mean, the Snake was a cool. Now going back to that with the earthquake, the earthquake killed Jake the Snake's snake.
right.
Dropped on
Damien.
Yeah, Damien. Did the earthquake bomb on him?
There was another guy I love named Pampero Firpo.
Yeah.
He was from Parts Unknown.
Oh.
Oh, but the dudes, Parts Unknown, they were dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't know where you were from, they could do anything.
Oh yeah.
Illegal stuff, and he was mean and all that kind of stuff.
First
So,
time the Undertaker came out from Death Valley.
Yeah.
He was throwing you in the ground in casket matches. That was
Yeah, but those guys back then were so, how can I put this? They were so tame and so unathletic compared to the guys
Totally.
today.
Yeah.
They
But
would just sit there and hit you in the face and make you bleed, and,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
was a big thing right there. But today's theatrics are just amazing. And I think that's why we've seen wrestlers die in the ring, because they're trying to outdo themselves. You're coming
Oh,
up
yeah.
from the ring and dropping and all that kind of stuff. It's much more
I
dangerous.
was watching that one, 1997. Was it in the house when Owen Hart at
Yeah.
my friend's house? Man, he's the blue blazer, right? He's supposed to come down, and the cable snaps, and that dude's head just hit that turnbuckle, and now they went right back and let the broadcast, the pay-per-view play, but that dude died
The
just like
show
that.
must go on.
on.
That's the way
Absolutely.
it works there.
And they have had some wrestlers die in promotions around the world, like in-ring accidents
yeah.
actually happen. Just a couple of the last few years over in Japan, I think one in Mexico, just got hit the wrong way, and
You look at
but that happens in
wrestlers.
football too.
You look at wrestlers from back then of the Macho Mans, the Bam Bams, the Big Boss Man, all these guys who have died of the heart attacks or died of this and that. You don't really happen as much anymore. Is it because they were way more pain-pilled and coked out and all that back then than they are now?
Oh, road living.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
road
Yeah.
life was more intense for those guys than it is now, because when
But
those
why
guys
is that? Wouldn't it be more now because
No.
you got to outdo?
More money now, right?
Well, no, there's more creature comforts now. But before, all they were doing was going town to town, and the schedule is a lot more rigorous. And all they were doing was drinking or doing whatever.
Pills and coke, man.
Right.
That's
But now, guys, there's enough money that they're getting their own buses. They have different hobbies. Like these guys just get like an Xbox or a PlayStation, and that's how they spend their time. They're not
Yeah.
drinking. They're not doing drugs.
You don't need to wrestle every night to make your money.
well, then
Right,
they don't
they're
even have you on there that much anymore. They have 2 different programs in there, right?
Well,
And-
they're still doing house shows,
Yeah.
but just they make enough money that they can get a chart. They have their own coach, their own decked out bus that takes them between places, or they can afford a nicer car. They can afford a better hotel room, and they can do other things besides just go town to town and drink and drink and drink and do drugs and do drugs. And also, a lot of them know that. Like,
Yeah.
that's how a lot of these guys failed. We're not going to repeat those same
Well,
All right, and I
mistakes.
got to ask this critical question. I'm afraid to hear the answer. You both know this is fake, right?
yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
No.
I don't want to burst your bubble. But what is your Mount Rushmore again?
All right. Giant, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Macho Man Randy Savage.
And yours?
Lou Thesz, Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Macho Man Randy Savage.
All right, I'm Terry Foster, and this is Terry Foster, the Boombayey podcast, Pro Wrestling Edition.
See you later.
I am the cream, yeah, the cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better than the Macho Man Randy Savage.